We all know it, but it's good to have a refreshment every now and then. Translation. Krishna is the lover of Radha. He displays many amorous pastimes in the groves of Vrindavan. He is a lover of the covered maidens of Braja and the holder of the great hill named Govardhan. He is the beloved son of Mother Yashoda, the delighter of the inhabitants of Braja, and he wanders in the forest along the banks of the river Jamuna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayam Shripad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Stotra Stotra Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Shripad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Stotra Stotra Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the Sama devotees. All glories to the Sama devotees. All glories to the Sama devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from 3rd Canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 5, entitled Vidura's Talks with Maitreya. Text number 46. Panena te deva kata sudyayaha pravridha bhaktya vishadashaya ye vairagya saram pratilabhya bodham yatanjasan viyur akunta dishnam panena te deva kata suduyaha pravridha bhaktya vishadashayaye vairagya saram pratilabhya bodham yatanjasan viyurakunta dishnam panena te deva kata sudyayaha pravridha bhaktya vishadashayaye vairagya saram pratilabhya bodham yatanjasan viyurakunta dishnam panena te deva kata sudyayaha pravridha bhaktya vishadashayaye vairagya saram pratilabhya bodham yatanjasan viyurakunta dishnam panena te deva kata sudhyaya pravridha bhaktya vishadashayaye vairagya saram pratilabhya bodham panena te deva kata sudhyaya vairagya saram yatanjasan viyurakunta dishnam panena te deva kata sudhyaya pravridha bhaktya vishadayasaye vairagya saram pratilabhya bodham yatanjasan viyurakunta dishnam panena te deva kata sudaya pravridha bhaktya vishadasayaye vairagya saram pratilabhya bodham yatanjasan viyurakunta dishnam panena te deva kata sudaya vishadasayaye vairagya saram pratilabhya bodham yatanjasan viyurakunta dishnam panena te deva kata sudaya pravriddha bhaktya vishadasayaye. Vairagya saram pratilabdya bodham. Nitanjasan virakunta. Vaishnavis. Anena te devakata sudaya. Pravriddha bhaktya vishadasayaye. Vairagya sadam pratilabdya bodham. Natanjasan virakuntam. Anena te devakata sudaya. Vairagya sadam pratilabdya bodham. Anena te devakata sudaya. Pravriddha bhaktya vishadasayaye. Vairagya sadam pratilabdya bodham. Vyatanjasan virakunta dishyam. Anyone else? Panena, by drinking. Te, of you. Deva, O Lord. Kata, topics. Sudhyaya, of the nectar. Pravriddha, highly enlightened. Bhaktya, by devotional service. Vishada ashaya, with a greatly serious attitude. Yea, those who. Vairagya saram, the entire purport of renunciation. Pratilabhya, achieving. Bodham, intelligence. Yata, as much as. Anjasa, quickly. Anviyuhu, achieve. Akunta dishnyam, Vaikuntha Loka, in the spiritual sky. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. O Lord, persons who, because of their serious attitude, attain the stage of enlightened devotional service, achieve the complete meaning of renunciation and knowledge, and attain the Vaikuntha Loka in the spiritual sky, simply by drinking the nectar of your topics. Purport. The difference between the impersonalistic mental speculators and the pure devotees of the Lord is that the former pass through a miserable understanding of the absolute truth at every stage, whereas the devotees enter into the kingdom of all pleasures even from the beginning of their attempt. The devotee has only to hear about devotional activities which are as simple as anything in ordinary life, and he also acts very simply, whereas the mental speculator has to pass through a jugglery of words, which are partially facts and partially a make-show for the maintenance of an artificial impersonal status. In spite of his strenuous efforts to attain perfect knowledge, the impersonalist attains merging into the impersonal oneness of the Brahmajyoti of the Lord, which is also attained by the enemies of the Lord simply because of their being killed by him. The devotees, however, attain to the highest stage of knowledge and renunciation and achieve the Vaikuntha Lokas, the planets in the spiritual sky. The impersonalist attains only the sky and does not achieve any tangible transcendental bliss, whereas the devotee attains to the planets where real spiritual life prevails. With a serious attitude, the devotee throws away all achievements like so much dust, and he accepts only devotional service, the transcendental culmination. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shriyata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpaturubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Vaisheshikada Sarikariti Namane Namo Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namashreshna Manamapi Sachiputram Atra Swarupam Shri Rupam Tasya Grajaram Udapirim Maturim Gostavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavam Sham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Panena Te Deva Kata Sudyayaha Pravridha Bhaktya Vishadasayaye Vairagya Sadam Pratilabdya Bodham Yatanjasanvi Yurakunta Dishnam. O Lord, persons who, because of their serious attitude, attain the stage of enlightened devotional service, achieve the complete meaning of renunciation and knowledge, and attain the Vaikuntha Loka and the spiritual sky simply by drinking the nectar of your topics. So I don't know about you all, but I've really been enjoying these verses that we've been hearing. And the demigods are glorifying the Lord. And this section is really fantastic, actually. I've really been relishing all the different classes the devotees have been giving on this particular section. And today, Srila Prabhupada is glorifying the process of devotional service, and particularly the process of hearing, which is arguably one of the most important activity in Krishna consciousness. So when I read this verse, something from the 10th canto came up, and Tapas Prabhu, you can pull this up. This is a very famous verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10, canto 10, chapter 2, text 32. You should all know this one. Ene ravindaksha vimuktamaninas tvayasta bhavada vishuddha buraya arura kritshrena padam padam tata padantyana padantyado nadrita yushmarangaya. Translation. Some may say that aside from devotees who always seek shelter at the Lord's lotus feet, there are those who are not devotees but who have accepted different processes for attaining salvation. What happens to them? In answer to this question, Lord Brahma and the other demigods said, O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet. So Prabhupada is making this point today in today's purport that the impersonalistic mental speculators, they try very hard to understand the absolute truth, but their end result is null and void. They merge into the Brahma Jyoti, whereas the devotees enter into the Vaikuntha Loka planets in the spiritual sky. So, there's a lot of wonderful points here today, and I'm going to be making some qualifying statements on the process of Shravanam. So, Tapas Prabhu, pull up Canto 2, Chapter 2, text 37. We're going to walk through the pages of the Bhagavatam today. Translation. Those who drink through oral reception, fully filled with the nectarian message of Lord Krishna, the beloved of the devotees, purify the polluted aim of life known as material enjoyment, and thus go back to Godhead, to the lotus feet of Him, the personality of Godhead. So this is a beautiful verse stating that through oral reception, through hearing about the Lord, one can purify this polluted mentality that is pervading this material world. And we have to submit ourselves to hear about the Lord. And this is recommended by none other than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he speaks about the 5 aspects of devotional service. And among 64, there are 5 that are most recommended. Panchangam Bhakti. Can anyone name these 5? Maybe some people can shout out the ones that they know. Of course, Chananacharya Prabhu knows. He's the monk coach. And Prabhu, I know you know the answers. 5 aspects of devotional service that... Yes, sadhu sangha. Yeah, that's not it either. No. Yeah, living in a holy place, yeah. So we have sadhu sangha, association of devotees living in a holy place. That's not it there, no. It's part of the aspects of devotional service, but there's 5 specific that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. If you just follow these 5, or even if you just do one of these 5, you'll go back to... Yeah, chanting the holy name. We have 2 more. Yeah. It's something we do every day. No. Yeah, worshiping the form of the Lord, the Murti. And the 5th one is what we're doing right now, which is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. This is what's known as Panchangam Bhakti, the 5 limbs of devotional service, because we may not be able to execute all 64, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu simplified it and says, you just do these 5. So, and among those, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is very important, which is why Srila Prabhupada gave us these books, and he encouraged us. Even when he left, he said, if you just simply go on discussing Srimad Bhagavatam together, then everything will be revealed, everything will be clear. So, Tapas Prabhu, let's pull up the 9th canto, 24th chapter, text number 62. And translation. Simply by receiving the glories of the Lord through purified transcendental ears, the devotees of the Lord are immediately freed from strong material desires and engagement in fruitive activities. Purport. When the devotees orally receive the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as enacted in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, they immediately achieve a transcendental vision in which they are no longer interested in materialistic activities. Thus, they achieve freedom from the material world. For sense gratification, practically everyone is engaged in materialistic activities, which prolong the process of janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, birth, death, old age, and disease. But the devotee, simply by hearing the message of Bhagavad Gita and further relishing the narrations of Srimad Bhagavatam, becomes so pure that he no longer takes interest in materialistic activities. At the moment, devotees in the Western countries are being attracted by Krishna consciousness and becoming uninterested in materialistic activities, and therefore people are trying to oppose this movement. But they cannot possibly check this movement or stop the activities of the devotees in Europe and America by their artificial impositions. Here the words Shrotanjalir Upashrishya indicate that simply by hearing the transcendental activities of the Lord, the devotees become so pure that they are immediately immune to the contamination of materialistic fruitive activities. Anya bilashita shunyam. Nectar of devotion. Materialistic activities are unnecessary for the soul, and therefore the devotees are freed from such activities. The devotees are situated in liberation, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, and therefore they cannot be called back to their material homes and materialistic activities. Yes, Anya Bilashita Shunyam, that one's devotional service should be free from mental speculation. And Srila Prabhupada makes a very wonderful point in the pastime of the cleansing of the Gundicha Mandir in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where the devotees were all cleaning the temple, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, well, this isn't good enough. Let me show you how to do it. And he came in and came with big pots of water, and the devotees had thought they had cleaned everything, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was still finding these big piles of dust. And Prabhupada makes a point, actually, in that chapter where he says that Anya Bilashita Purnyam. So Shunyam means devoid of all this, but Prabhupada is saying Anya Bilashita Purnam, that our heart is actually full of all these different contaminations. So we have to hear about the Lord so that he can purify and cleanse us, and that attraction is awoken. Let's hear another verse. This is from the 4th canto, chapter 30, text 10. This is really nice. Those who will offer me the prayers composed by Lord Shiva, both in the morning and in the evening, will be given benedictions by me. In this way, they can both fulfill their desires and attain good intelligence. Purport. Good intelligence means going back home, back to Godhead. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. One who offers prayers to the Lord to fulfill his different desires must know that the highest perfectional fulfillment of desire is to go back home, back to Godhead. In this verse, it is indicated that those who remember the activities of the Prachetas, the sons of King Prachinabarhishat, will be delivered and blessed. So what to speak of the sons of King Prachinabarhishat, who are directly connected with the Supreme Personality Godhead? This is the way of the Parampara system. If we follow the Acharyas, we attain the same benefit as our predecessors. If one follows the decisions of Arjuna, he should be considered to be directly hearing Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no difference between hearing Bhagavad Gita directly from the Supreme Lord and following a personality like Arjuna, who formerly heard Bhagavad Gita directly from the Lord. Sometimes foolish people argue that since Krishna is not present at the moment, one cannot take direct instructions from him. Such foolish people do not know that there is no difference between directly hearing Bhagavad Gita and reading it. And as long as one accepts Bhagavad Gita as it is spoken by the Lord, however, if one wants to understand Bhagavad Gita by his imperfect interpretations, one cannot possibly understand the mysteries of Bhagavad Gita, even though one may be a great scholar according to mundane estimation. So by reading the Bhagavad Gita, we're actually associating with not only Srila Prabhupada, but Lord Krishna himself. So we ourselves as devotees have the opportunity and the duty to understand these instructions that have been imparted to us by our Grand Spiritual Master, and to imbibe those and to go out and give others the opportunity to have the same relationship, to reawaken that love for God which is dormant within everyone's heart. Sometimes when I go out on Sankirtan, I'll give people a Maha Mantra card. And they'll look at it kind of with like a confused face and say, "What is this?" And I'll say, "Oh, don't worry, it's a prayer. It helps you wake up love for God in your heart." And they say, "Oh, okay, let me try it." But most people are a little, averse, let's say, to understanding God, because we live in a very confused age, and people aren't really willing to hear. I'll have you pull up one other section here, Tapas, and this is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 8. Go to 294. Actually, go to the index, I'm sorry. And then scroll down to 294. This is a chapter where Srila Ramananda Roy and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are having some interaction. 294. Yeah, something to look forward to. The Chaitanya Charitamrita is really relishable. Actually, these conversations are like a great mine where from a single place one can extract all kinds of metals: copper, bell metal, silver, and gold, and also touchstone, the basis of all metals. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy worked like miners, excavating all kinds of valuable metals, each one better than the other. Their questions and answers are exactly like that. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu begged Ramananda Roy to give him permission to leave. And at the time of farewell, the Lord gave him the following orders. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, "Give up all material engagements and come to Jagannath Puri. I will return there very soon after finishing my tour and pilgrimage. The two of us shall remain together at Jagannath Puri and happily pass our time discussing Krishna." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then embraced Sri Ramananda Roy, and after sending him back to his home, the Lord took rest. After rising from bed the next morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the local temple, where there was a deity of Hanuman. After offering him obeisances, the Lord departed for South India. All the residents of Vidyanagara were of different faiths, but after seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they abandoned their own faiths and became Vaishnavas. When Ramananda Roy began to feel separation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was overwhelmed. Meditating on the Lord, he gave up all his material business. I have briefly described the meeting between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy. No one can actually describe this meeting exhaustively. It is even impossible for Lord Sheshanaga, who has thousands of hoods. The activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are like condensed milk, and the activities of Ramananda Roy are like large quantities of sugar candy. Their meeting is exactly like a mixture of condensed milk and sugar candy. When they talk of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, camphor is added. One who tastes this combined preparation is most fortunate. This wonderful preparation has to be taken orally. If one takes it, he becomes greedy to relish it even further. And this is enunciated in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Jnane prayasyam udapasyam namante eva, jivanti san mukaritam bhavadiya vartam, stane stita shrutikatam tanavan manobir, jay prayaso jita jito apichaistri lokyam. That one can simply remain in whatever established social position that they are in and simply hear about Krishna. And by hearing about him, the Lord, who is unconquerable, becomes conquered by the love of his devotee. So we should hear regularly the Shastras, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Nityam, we may not be able to do it always, but every day we should do. And one may ask, well, why? Why do I need to hear? And the Shastra says, Narayanam namaskritya, naram chaiva narotaram, devim saraswatim vyasam, tato jayam udirayet. That the Srimad Bhagavatam is actually our very means of conquest. Tato jayam, this is the way we can achieve victory in life, by studying and dedicating our lives to the narrations found in the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the process of hearing is glorified, but also chanting is recommended. And we saw when His Grace Bhrigupati Prabhu gave us his holy association, he came with a booklet that he compiled on just one statement from the Shastra, Atashri Krishna Namari Nabhaved Graham Indriyai, Sevan Mukhi Jivado Swayameva Sparatyada. And he just, he mined this single phrase, Sevan Mukhi Jivado, and he had a whole notebook that he put together of all the different statements Srila Prabhupada made on this single verse that yoga begins with the tongue, the jiva. So, and these processes are vetted, they've been authorized, they've been approved. And one other very powerful aspect of devotional service, which is recommended, is to meditate on the Sri Guru Parampara. And we should live to please our predecessors and always rely on their mercy. And we can see this is even demonstrated in the lives of none other than Krishna and Balaram. They went to the house of their guru, the Gurukul, and their teacher, whose name is, taught them all the different arts. And it's such a beautiful chapter. It sounds like they had a lot of fun together. They served their guru so nicely that at the end of their education, he said, I want to do something for you. How can I? You've been such nice boys. You've been such nice students. And they says, no, Guru Maharaj, we want to do something for you. And he says, well, I lost my son some time ago. He was taken by the personality, the ocean. And he says, okay, Guru Maharaj, let's go find him. So they go to the deity of the ocean, and then they return his son. They retrieve his son. So we can see the mood of our parampara is service to the superiors, service to the spiritual masters, service to our elders, service to our mentors. Tad vignanartam sagurum eva bikechet samet pani shotriam brahmanishtam. That one should carry wood in their hands. Samet pani shotriam brahmanishtam. They should carry wood and bring it to the guru so he can burn it in sacrifice. And this form that Srila Prabhupada has given us is that we carry his books and we march around the streets asking people to take the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and give up all their hogwash. And it's, great way to spend one's life. We're hearing about this aspect of practicing devotional service seriously. Today, Prabhupada says that because of their serious attitude, so one could say, what does it mean to be serious in Krishna consciousness? Does it mean to be stern? Does it mean to never laugh? Does it mean to, one could speculate, but let's, rather we should hear what the acharyas have to say. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has says that one should follow the simple path very strictly. And we can see this is enunciated by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Upadeshamrita. And it's, the instructions are very simple, actually. The beginning is Vacho Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam. You control your urges, the desires of the tongue, the belly, the genitals, krodha. Do your best to control anger. And he lays out the formula. And he says, Atyahara, don't collect too much, don't overeat. Niyamagraha, avoid niyamagraha. Niyamagraha means I sit down and I say, I know this already. I sit down with my bee bag and say, I got it figured out, Krishna. I don't need your help. I can do it on my own. By my own strength, I'll conquer over this ocean of material existence. Rather, we should feel ourselves dependent on the previous acharyas and cry out to the holy name. And shallow prayers aren't recommended, nor are they required. We should pray very feelingly and very deeply, asking for their shelter. And this principle of niyamagraha is very important for us to avoid. And the best way to do this is actually to bring new people in. Because when new people are here, we give them the opportunity to take to the process of devotional service. And I heard this recently, that people who practice dramas, they have to do the same thing every day, throughout perhaps most of the days of the year. And so instead of, when they're practicing this drama, they'll have someone come stage left instead of stage right. So they have to create an environment in such a way to where there's always, new ways to enact the philosophy, you could say. So this principle of niyamagraha is very dangerous in spiritual life, and we should avoid it at all costs. And it can affect us in many different ways. Because if we look at the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he always thought himself to be a fool before his spiritual master. He says, I'm a murka. He says, I don't know anything. And certainly we can achieve success in our Krishna consciousness if we follow in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And best way to do this also is we're entering the marathon again, part 2. So Srila Prabhupada stressed book distribution so much. In fact, it's been stated that we're actually the sampradaya of the book. If you look at this picture we have next to Srila Prabhupada, you see that Lord Brahma is holding a book, the Vedas, and even pictures of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, our own Srila Prabhupada. Most of their photos, they're sitting next to their books. So you can see that there's a common theme in our sampradaya, that the acharyas promote the distribution of transcendental literature. And why is it beneficial for us? Because it gives us the opportunity to see not only ourselves, but to see others as spirits, spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna. And when we see ourselves as servants of Krishna, then from this position we can respect all life. And this is enunciated in the Sri Ishopanishad, in the verse can't remember the whole verse, but the statement is made, anupashyati, that for such a person who sees everything in relation to Krishna, then they don't hate any person or any being. They see everything in relation to Krishna. And this is important because how else will we practice the instruction that Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter? No, you don't have to worry about that. In the Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter, Krishna gives an instruction to Arjuna, telling him that you should be a kind friend to all living beings, and you shouldn't become your enemy's enemy. So, yeah, going out and preaching gives us the opportunity to have this vision. Because, yeah, we shouldn't be jerks. And spiritual life essentially means to become serious, to grow up, basically, and stop becoming a child. And you can see the behavior of advanced personalities. They don't interact with people the way that others do. In fact, they're always keen to avoid unnecessarily criticizing others or gaslighting others. And it's actually a symptom of one who isn't situated properly spiritually. And it's symptomized by one who is in the bodily conception of life, that they're not seeing the proper relationship of the connection between the jiva and Krishna's, between Krishna and the jivas. And they don't criticize people unnecessarily. And it's important that we have this culture of respect. And when you see that in a community and you come into an atmosphere where that's practiced, you can feel it, it's tangible. This culture of respect is very important. But even if we don't have full realization of that, that's where the guardrails of etiquette come in. And we can bow our heads and offer respect even if we don't have, the vijnana to do that. We can follow this etiquette, this Vaishnava etiquette, which is actually the ornament of a cultured person, as they don't transgress the boundaries of etiquette. And actually it's recommended that we show honor and praise to those who have helped us, whether it's our gurus or even the person that we got a book from in the very beginning. We should always feel actually that the more advanced a Vaishnava is, the more they feel I always need help, that I want to be aligned properly spiritually. So I need to I need to pray, I need to beg for the help of my seniors. And we should carefully study the behavior of advanced devotees. And we should have the orders of our spiritual master engraved within the cores of our hearts, so that we're taking each step in our lives praying that we can please them. And we should pray very feelingly to the Lord. And we can see this even in the, kind of running out of time here. Even our, one of the members of our Panchatattva, Srila Advaitacharya, he prayed very feelingly to the Lord to come and give relief to all the jivas in the material world. He cried actually on the bank of the Ganges. He was worshiping the Shalagram Shila, giving tulsi and Ganges water. And by his loud cries and by the intense bhajan of Haridas Thakur, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended into this world to liberate all the conditioned souls. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Advaita Acharya and Haridas Thakur were dancing. And no one understood why these two great personalities were dancing. I'm trying to sort of condense my class here. I didn't know I had such a short amount of time. Let me put in a Varnashram plug, because there isn't much time, and Bhakti Raghava Swami says that each class you should speak, I think, like 20% about Varnashram or something like that. So, anyways, Prabhupada is making this point here in the class that a devotee acts very simply. So, yeah, I mean, simple living, high thinking. This is what Prabhupada wanted us to do. And when we met Shivaram Swami in New Vrajadam in Hungary, Shivaram Maharaj says people are practicing complex living and no thinking. People are just like so, devotees even, they're not so much inspired to, live simple lives, chant Hare Krishna, save time for devotional service. And actually, Srila Prabhupada said this Western civilization will collapse. So it's only a matter of time. And I don't know if is it Mitravan Prabhu? Anyways, there's a wonderful prayer found in the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th chapter. Kunti Maharani is saying, Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Yeah, a very famous prayer. I'm sure most of you know that. Actually, in the end of the purport, Prabhupada makes this wonderful statement. He says that Lord Krishna is never pleased where two things are lacking. Does anyone know what these two things are? Jidagrish?
Cow protection.
Cow protection and Brahminical culture. Lord Krishna is never pleased where these two things are lacking. So, yeah, we have to give importance to this. Our founder Acharya did very much so. And yeah, we should feel it a necessary burden. We should carry that weight for the spiritual master. Because, Prabhupada said that the tractor is the death of the bull. So we're killing our fathers and we're poisoning our mothers. The cows are just being injected with all sorts of harmful chemicals, and it's really a sad situation. So we have to endeavor, strain our minds to create facility to protect mother cow and give others that opportunity and education to experience what that is like, to have that Dharma being upheld. And let me see here, there's a couple more minutes left. Actually, it's very important, the simple living and high thinking. When Vishnu Chitta Prabhu and I were in Sridham Mayapur, we were going through the mandir, having darshan of Radha Madhava. And they were having some announcements that day in the temple because it was a full moon. And Vishnu Chitta Prabhu was kind of like laughing at me. And he was joking with me, and he says, like, this culture is so nice because things are centered around the moon, actually. They have certain harvests, and people have this, like, sense of appreciation for, higher powers and demigods. But he was explaining how, like, in the city, people, they don't give a damn about the moon. They don't know what phase it's in. They don't know what the effect that it has on the environment, that it provides, the juice for the vegetables. And it's so sad when you live in the, Prabhupada actually called it, Prabhupada condemned city life. He said this, city life is hellish, it's condemned. Because you're actually, you cut yourself out from Krishna's natural arrangement, Krishna's environment. And unfortunately, what that does is it roots you in an impersonal conception of life. Because you're not seeing that, okay, the moon is being controlled by Candra, and the sun god is there, and yeah, you're not able to see things in a personal way. So yeah, city life is just really, really awful. And I have a minute left here, so Tapas Prabhu, I'm going to send you a letter, and we'll end with this because it's very important to hear the glories of Prabhupada's Varnashram mission. You can pull this up, it's on WhatsApp. Hopefully you guys can read this. Okay, Kreese and Fat. Okay, great. Dear Mahavirya Das, please accept my blessings. I am in due receipt of your letter dated August 9th, 1975, redirected from Los Angeles. I'm very glad to hear that you are working so nicely in developing the project there. It is very important, and I'm very encouraged that you are taking it seriously. The modern civilization is a condemned civilization. The innocent people are being dragged from the villages and exploited in the cities. But in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna recommends them to remain where they are and produce grains, anad bhavanti bhutani. Grow your food, eat sumptuously, and chant Hare Krishna. This is real life. If we establish such projects all over India, we shall be the proprietor of India. Similarly, in the USA, and if USA and India join together in such Krishna-conscious projects, then the whole world will be paradise. Krishna provides everything, but we mismanage it. Even in this condemned world, he has provided everything complete. He is so perfect. Krishna wants us to pass our days here in Krishna consciousness and then go back home, back to Godhead. This village program is for the ordinary class of people, and for the intellectuals, we have got our books. We are not lacking in anything. I hope this meets you in good health. I very much like that place in Hyderabad. That tree is very nice. I was sleeping underneath it. It is a pleasant place. Now develop it first class. Srila Prabhupada ki! Any questions or comments? We can take them now.
Yeah, the purport. Srila Prabhupada makes many important points. Of all them, being most relatable, being with a serious attitude, the devotee throws away all achievements like so much dust, and he accepts only devotional service, the transcendental culmination. And it's really important. We find that my spiritual master mentions that the most important line in Srila Prabhupada's books, everything is so important, but that the advancement of devotional service dependent on the attitude of the follower. So, with a serious attitude, the devotee throws away all achievements, not a karmi. So there's so many achievements one achieves on the path of devotional service, because we get granted so many things, just like our acharyas pray that when I serve Krishna, when I start to actually perform bhakti, all of the bhakti, mukti, siddhi, kami, they all come to my doorstep and say, how can I serve you?
Bhavamanga Thakur.
So a devotee within his life acquires so many qualities and has so many achievements if he's actually performing the platform of devotional service properly. But he gives all these things up. And it's particularly that verse is there that Krishna Bhakta, what is it? That Shakala Shanta.
Only the devotees are
Krishna
peaceful.
Bhakta Nishkama Ateva Shanta Bhakti Mukti Siddhi Kami Shakali Ashanta. And Prabhupada says, because the devotee of Lord Krishna is desireless, he is peaceful. Fruitive workers desire material enjoyment, jnanis desire liberation, yogis desire material opulence, because they are all lusty and they cannot be peaceful. So a devotee, he throws away all of his so-called achievements, so-called designations. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm temple president. Oh, I'm vice president. Oh, I'm bhakta leader. Oh, I'm a cook. I'm a book distributor. This and this and this. Those are obviously service to the Lord, but it's not that he's particularly attached to those because of the achievements. He's only attached to those because of his service attitude towards the Lord. Mm-hmm. If he's attached to them because of these things, that name, fame, adoration, then it's simply just false achievement. So he gives them all up. He throws them like so much dust just within the heart. He gets rid of them. And then he accepts only devotional service, the transcendental culmination. So this platform of just coming to this anavritam, sunyam, like you were saying, Anuka. So this point is actually really tough to come to, and Srila Prabhupada mentions that even the devotees who are not there yet, in the beginning of this purport, says they're experiencing much more ecstasy than even the so-called yogis who are just after the, just state of existence, is existing in the light, whatever. So much nonsense is there. So I'm just saying the most important point here being that a devotee should endeavor in his life with a pure understanding to be a pure devotee of Krishna, not to acquire some name and fame and have some position. Actually, Srila Prabhupada says all of these positions, there's just a difficulty actually. Even management means headache. We take it as service to the Lord, but actually all we desire to do is ultimately come to the platform of being able to chant the pure holy name of the Lord without any other desire in our hearts. So we should endeavor, especially when we have the position to do that, to be humble, to be able to go out on book distribution every day, and that's like the nectar, like to be able to go and get humbled every day and then do that. That's like a very fortunate position that even the demigods are after. So recognizing our position that I can purify myself instead of, I want this position, I want that position, I want that position, how can I get higher? Actually undesirable positions, I'll tell you, it's like, so much headache is there. Or better to just perform Krishna consciousness, simple, straightforward, go back home, back to Godhead, no other desire in the heart. There's so many things. There's something.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you. I was thinking that to follow in the footsteps of, advanced devotees like it may be difficult for us to do that, but I was thinking even in your own life, you're a nice example of serving the devotees in a selfless manner, because you cook all this opulent prasadam, and you can't even have any of it. And I was thinking, this is a real example of selfless service. And I was out during the marathon with Bhakta Charandeep, and we were at the Patel brothers, and I was telling everyone there he was speaking to, I said, everything for Krishna and nothing for me. And people were just like, yeah, it totally makes sense. And he speaks so many different languages, and I heard him preaching to someone, and Tapas, can you pull up the Bhajan Nam Gai Gaur Madhuswarar? He was telling people, just once, just take the Srimad Bhagavatam just once. We have to push people so hard for them to take these books, And go to the English, Tapas. I heard the word Ekbar. I heard Charandeep say this word Ekbar, and I was like, what does that mean? I think he was speaking Hindi to this person. I was like, Ekbar. I was like, this isn't some sort of bhajan. And the last stanza. Jivana hoile shesh na bajile rishikesh bhaktive norupadesh ekbar nam rase matore. Go to the translation, please. Your life may end at any moment, and you have not served the Lord of the senses, Rishikesh. Take this advice of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Just once, relish the nectar of the holy name. The Charandeep was out there saying, just once, Ekbar. He was yelling at these people, just take the Bhagavatam, give it, just give once for Krishna. Some fortunate souls do, and they have the opportunity to take up Krishna consciousness seriously. Now we have Vamsi Prabhu here, and he's creating these home programs where you can actually go in and cultivate these people. Because when I visited Nandagram, there was an advanced devotee there named Gurudas Prabhu. And even our Vishnuchitta Prabhu was bowing down to this great personality. He was saying he's served Guru Maharaj for years. So I had a little bit of time with this devotee, and he was managing the fields there at Nandagram. And he says, well, you can broadcast so many seeds, when you're farming. He says, but you have to cultivate them. And he says, book distribution is that seed. He says, these farm communities are the way we can actually cultivate people. And Bhakti Vikash Maharaj has so intelligently organized these communities. And if America gets one, it'll really take off. We see so many people coming, maybe not so many now, but even those who do come, there's no place for them to engage in a practical way in devotional service. Like Chana was saying yesterday, maybe they can mop the floor, but okay, what else am I going to do, So, yeah. Are there any other points we can discuss? We're supposed to go till 9. It's not like this class has to be shortened or anything.
We can't go to 9.
Just on his point, he was talking, someone brought it up to me recently that, we think position. So in the material world, the more people you're over, control means position, higher position, power, generally exploitation. But in Krishna consciousness, we got the opposite. The more power or position you have, you're actually supposed to be a greater servant. You're actually supposed to see yourself as servant of everyone that you're so-called over. So that means prepared to do anything. Like we've witnessed my Guru Maharaj, he's out there like picking plants to inspire us. Like even he's willing to get down and dirty to like do what it takes. So not to identify too much with this is my particular service, this is my particular position, but to be above, the position and the name and the fame, like he mentioned. And like obviously Prabhupada was a perfect example of this. Purity is the force. So he said this movement will be ruined if we let in this nonsense, deceptiveness and cheating, and he didn't tolerate it. Didn't tolerate the nonsense, never exhibited it himself. So that's why people were attracted to him, He led a worldwide movement. He's such a pure, we're getting exploited by everybody. So it's like finally you get shelter of someone who's in knowledge and who's, Haridas Thakur, pure in behavior and pure in his preaching. Perfect in his preaching, perfect in his behavior. So it's like what we should aspire for and continue to remain as a servant no matter what.
Yeah, Prabhupada was always steeped in that mood of humility, right? He would go before the deities and pray, please don't let me fall into Maya. And actually in one of Prabhupada's small books, he says that one should reveal their mind before the deity and tell their lordships, I am being tossed this way and that way. So this is an activity of devotional service. We should tell Krishna, please help me. And give me your shelter, beg. Haha Prabhu Koto Daya, give me the shade of your lotus feet. Because the material world is like a blazing fire. Keep your lotus feet on my head. Yeah, and the best way to avoid this mentality, like you're saying, Suresh Prabhu, is to really imbibe this principle of Trinadapi Sunechena. Because when you respect those around you, especially in the Vaishnava community, what to speak of all living entities, then what's your reward? Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Krishna gives you the opportunity to always taste his holy name. But if you're disrespectful, then you're cut out from Krishna's mercy. Because Krishna is within everyone's heart. And living beings are sensitive, they're sentient, they're his parts and parcels, so we should behave with everyone in an appropriate manner. Janardhan Krishna Prabhu.
In your class, you were speaking about the importance of hearing, and specifically hearing and reading from Srila Prabhupada's books. And I just wanted to share an experience that Tapas Prabhu and I had recently on book distribution. Because, we don't really know like where these books are even going to end up or who they're going to reach. And Tapas Prabhu and I were at this Peace of Mind Expo. And there wasn't so many people there, but the people that were there, they were really, really nice. And this one dude, he comes up and he has like long dreads. He has like crystal necklaces, like at least like 5, 6, 7 of them. He has like a huge like crystal staff, and he just looks like completely out of this world. And he comes up to the table and he's like, "Is that the Srimad Bhagavatam?"
Wow.
And we were like, "Whoa! Like how does this like guy know about the Bhagavatam?" And then because we were thinking like maybe he like got books from one of the devotees like around here, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I actually have it in my bag right now."
What?
And we were like, "Dude, is this guy like messing with us or like what's like going on?" So he like goes back to his booth because he was actually one of the vendors there, and he brings us this like 1983 like the book didn't even have like the spine on it. It was like
Wow.
taped up, like the first part of like the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And for all of us, we've read through this like that as like the like creation of like the universes, like the Purusha Shukta confirmed, like all these like crazy like high topics. And subject matters. And he's like, yeah, one of my like elders in my community, he gave me this book, and he told me to like read like just this book.
Wow.
And he says he's been carrying it around with him everywhere he goes ever since. And yeah, Tapas Prabhu talk to him more, just like about like all of like the different things that he's like gained from reading like the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he was like talking about like the Mahabharata and all these different things, obviously things that he's gained from reading the purports of Srila Prabhupada. So yeah, it's important to distribute these books, you know, to anybody and everybody, because we don't know whose hands it's going to end up in and whose life it's going to change. So that was just one recent anecdote that I wanted to share. Yeah. Tapas Prabhu got his number, and he should be coming through to the temple. So,
Thank you, Prabhu. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking in regards to that story of, when we give people that opportunity to take shelter of Krishna consciousness and actually benefit from Prabhupada's instructions. I mean, we love reading Prabhupada's book so much, you know, and you have to go out and actually give others that pleasure, that fortune, that privilege. And I was just reading last night in the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada was making a few points in the 8th chapter, and it's a verse that he mentions often. It's abhyasa yoga yuktena, that one should practice abhyas, one should practice Krishna consciousness. And and the one of the other terms that is used is this yoga balena, with spiritual strength. One should endeavor to make spiritual advancement, because Prabhupada says that the mind is very fickle, and so you should engage it by force to remember Krishna, because at the time of death, you know, the mind is very, very disturbed. So Prabhupada said that the transcendentalist, they're always, Prabhupada said actually transcendentalist means that they're ready to die at any moment. He says, I can leave my body at any time. That's the mood of a transcendentalist. So yeah, we should practice Krishna consciousness throughout our whole lives. It's not that, okay, towards the end of life, I'll try to take this up. And we should, do it as soon as possible, and then, have others benefit from that, so that at the end they can, go back home. You have another point, Prabhu?
Yeah. Also, attitude was mentioned, like having a proper attitude.
Yeah.
And like I see, like in Prabhupada's time, when devotees exhibited, even if they weren't even practicing to a T, but they just had a strong desire, he would encourage them with all force to go on and do big things, take all risks. And like, you're a gardener, so you're like aware, like if you keep a plant in a pot, it'll only grow so big. But when you put it outside, there's so many risks. It may get eaten by an animal, blown over by the wind, it may dry out, attacked by bugs. There's a lot of risks, but it will never grow beyond the pot if you keep it in a pot. So similar, I guess you could say, like sometimes it's good to take risks and go big for Krishna.
Definitely. Yeah. If we don't perform yajna, then we'll just suffer. Any questions from the Matajis? Mother Dirga?
So about like being critical, like I catch myself, quite often being critical of others, not in the person's presence. So I'm wondering, like, how could we be forgiven for that, and how can we like reform from that, from doing things of that nature,
Yeah, the best formula that you could follow would be to hear Krishna's holy name. And the mind cannot conceive how, by simply just doing this one thing, everything else is accomplished. So the attentive hearing of the Hare Krishna mantra is the solution to all of our problems in our material and spiritual lives. So if we're neglecting to associate with Krishna, then yeah, that criticism is almost being directed towards him, because here's my greatest well-wisher, but I'm ignoring him. So that rubs off, and then when we have this offensive mentality towards a holy name, that spreads into our devotional relationships. So yeah, everything stems from this vow that we made before our spiritual master to chant 16 rounds. And Prabhupada gave instructions like this throughout his letters. He says it's the same thing, just chant Hare Krishna and, study my books, just hearing and chanting. I mean, there's many different, Prabhupada would get so many letters from his disciples and posing all these different problems that they would have, but Prabhupada would mostly give the same answer, to take shelter of the holy name. Yeah, because I heard your Guru Maharaj give a class, I think, in Hyderabad. He was saying how the world is like so complex, So there's so many complexities in interpersonal dealings and relationships, and yeah, the mind is so hard to control. But yeah, if you just focus on hearing the sound vibration, everything will be revealed.
One more thing. So I assume you definitely get some type of reaction when you're speaking about someone, even if they're not present. Is it still considered like Vaishnava Parat?
You're saying that if you speak about someone but they're not present?
Yeah, like it's in a critical way. That's.
Well, better to reform others within the Sangha of Vaishnavas. Because if you do it within the community, then actually everyone benefits from those instructions. So, and in that way, no one takes it personally. And they're not singled out. And yeah, this was recommended to us on some of our Varnashram tours through Europe and India. Some devotees were mentioning that. So, yeah, I mean, Prabhupada never did that. He didn't rub that. When his disciples did things wrong, he didn't rub it in their face, Prabhupada, like Suresh Prabhu was saying, he would always encourage his disciples, But yeah, we should take risks, but we should know our level of advancement and what we're actually able to, undertake. Because there are examples of Prabhupada's disciples who Prabhupada gave them instructions, and then they tried to execute those instructions, but then they actually took a few steps back on the rung of their Krishna consciousness, and Prabhupada would go to them and say, "Why didn't you tell me?" I said, "I'm sorry, Prabhupada, I was trying to, just, you can be, we should be very honest, and yeah, just be realistic, and Krishna conscious devotional service, spiritual life is always very practical." So, Devyani, did you have a question?
Probably you were talking about this point of praying feelingly, and I was just thinking, in one sense it makes sense for one to reveal one's mind to the deities, and it would be easy to maybe pray a little more feelingly there, but then you find pure devotees, usually they're glorifying the Lord in their prayers before, if they even make a request from Him. And so, for us neophytes who are just coming into Krishna consciousness, and we may not necessarily have that intimate relationship with Krishna just yet, or even know Him in such a way that we can evoke those feelings in our prayers. How do we actually begin to develop that mood?
Yeah, how to deepen our connection with Krishna. Hearing. Yeah. Thickening that relationship. And something my spiritual master says that Srila Prabhupada said, drops a day wear the stone away. So even if we're just doing a little bit each day, water is something very soft, and just drops of water falling on a hard stone, it may seem like, it's not really going to have much of an effect. But day by day, gradually the stone wears away or becomes more soft. And it's a simple answer, but another analogy you could say is that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So, we have to invest in that relationship with Krishna and make set intentions daily to dive deeper into that relationship. Just like if they told me to go out back and dig a well and they just gave me a shovel, it's like, okay, I want to go deep, but I just, one at a time I got to go down 800 feet to hit water, but, if I don't keep going away at it. But if you become discouraged in that process, what you do is you take shelter of the devotees. They see Avadhuduta Chandra Das out there in the back with a shovel sweating, and my back hurts, and then Suresh will come with a shovel, and some of the other devotees. We are just here to help and support one another, so we don't have to feel all alone, because Krishna loves us, and his devotees are actually more kind than him. Any other questions? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki